Hi everybody, and welcome to the Hisessions Hawai podcast, where we talk about everything local and beyond. I'm John Yamasato, your host. Joining me today is Mr. Kyle Shimabukuro.
Hi.
And Devon Nekoba.
How's it?
Before we begin, let me remind our listeners of all the ways they can stay in touch with the podcast. There's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Hisessions. Go to SoundCloud, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts to listen to the podcast. Finally, you can email us at hisessions@yahoo.com. If you would like to help the show get more music on the channel, go to patreon.com, that's Patreon, and donate. There you'll get more involved with the show. We are releasing, there's a new group that we just started releasing this week called Wavy. They're like a reggae rap, kind of reggae R&B, I guess you could say, group. And so we'll be releasing a Patreons only video coming out this week. So
how do you guys find all your talent for shoots and stuff?
At this point, most of the time
They find him.
Yeah, they reach out to us. And
Put us on, please.
Yeah, but I mean, there's definitely people like Craig and Sarah that we'd like to have back on the show that we'll reach out to here and there. But for the most part, it's people that ask. Because then also too, like a lot of them are thinking about, I have something maybe that I want to promote coming up, so I want to do it, and so they think. Those are the people who think ahead, right?
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
So there's not that many then.
Not that many, no.
Because they're all artists.
But
and
like,
artists don't
there's
think
like-
about shit like that.
There's certain artists that they're on it, man.
Yeah.
They know, like, okay, I have something coming out next year, so I'm gonna get this set up because, right?
Right.
So, okay, I have a question.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
Here we go.
If a band calls you and you don't know who they are and they say, "Hey, can you record us?" and they suck,
Yeah.
did they make air?
Got to, because they're going to ask.
Yeah, right.
John, when do we play?
Well,
When do we come out on the channel?
so that's why I don't book the bands anymore. We have another person that books the bands. So he's not in the music business, so he has a little bit of an easier time saying to people that, we're booked out right now, or whatever.
Oh, so you guys do your like due diligence and research.
Oh
to
yeah.
Quality control.
We have to,
Yeah.
because there's more people asking than we can possibly film. We only film, not even. I think
Once
we
a
do
month?
like this every other month. So we only do
Wow.
like 12 shoots a year, So it's Yeah,
So
just-
people are
it's
going to
just-
hear the word no a lot.
yeah. I mean, I'd love to
But
shoot
on the
everybody.
plus side,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you might be really good and they still can't get to you,
That's
and
true.
then you might suck and they don't get to you.
Yeah.
You really don't know
It
which
doesn't-
one it is.
Yeah, there's
So
definite-
just assume that you are all awesome.
Well, and then there's some people that I would like to have on the show, but we have a list of people that we're trying to get to, so I
Right.
can't get my people on the show. And then there's other people that want to get people on.
And here we are talking out our ass on a pod every week. Huh?
Yeah.
Look at that.
And then we have you two guys that are on the channel every week.
Exactly. Exactly. And our special guests.
That's right. Okay, so before we get to them, hold on. Want to thank Kupu Kupu Landscaping, landscape architects. You can call Kevin Yokomura, 808-722-8685 for a free estimate on any landscaping needs that you have, or go to kupukupulandscaping.com.
Kev, you got to come look my house. I'm just saying.
He will. He'll come out. Fort Ruger Market. Had the Rugerlicious again today. It was delicious.
For Ruger, you got to come my house. Bring me food.
And you can
I
find
got to be
Devin
even.
at Kumu at 94.7. You can find Kyle at highlifeclothing.com. It's Christmas time. Perfect gift would be a High Life t-shirt or hoodie or
Yeah.
hat or sticker.
Or a high
Or
session
bumper
shirt,
sticker.
actually, because we have those.
Well,
now.
we don't have those yet.
Oh,
'cause
I thought we had those.
I'm holding it up.
Waiting for John.
What?
Yeah,
What happened?
I have to take the photos, so we have promo photos for the shirt.
Bruh.
Dude, it's been busy, man. But we
Bruh.
will have it up, hopefully by Christmas.
Well, do we have a like thing to show them what the new design
We don't
is
have a
gonna
new
be?
design yet.
What?
Well, for
Bro, you guys are
24
slacking all the way
I
around,
know,
man.
I know. Yeah, so we will be coming up. So before the last podcast,
We just take a picture of that for 2024 and then just send it.
yeah. No, Kyle and I will come up with something.
Hold
We
on.
will.
Okay. So, like to introduce our special guest today, Craig and Sarah Chi.
Yay!
I was trying to figure out a way to introduce you guys, like what, and I thought of ukulele ambassadors.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't only play the ukulele, but you teach ukulele, you promote the ukulele. You've done a lot for the ukulele. So that's kind of how I look at you two. I don't know if that's accurate or inaccurate or what, but anyway, that's how
Greg's mulling it around right now. Like,
No, I think that's actually
That's fair.
That is fair.
Before we even like start, I want to first just set the tone a little bit because
Ooh.
so we were doing our music. We started really playing together as a duo for the first time back in 2013, 14 maybe.
Yeah.
And we were lucky enough to be featured on Hisessions, April 2015.
Yep.
And it completely changed our kind of thoughts on how we can do more. Because what you guys provided was an opportunity to showcase, for me, especially the ukulele players. Right? It's back then there was nothing. There was just kind of camcordery stuff, but nothing to the quality that you guys were pushing.
Produced,
both
yeah.
audio and the video. And I already had a background in multimedia design, and I was starting to push out in that way.
I
but
didn't know that.
yeah, so being able to see that in person and again be featured, and it really made us think about what we wanted to do more with the ukulele, with the instrument. And so from there, it inspired not only our own events, but Hisessions inspired directly our backyard concert series since we moved back home. As well as some of the big live stream events like what you guys did for Maui, one of the first ones to actually put something together for Maui, which was fantastic.
What did I mean for? I know. You guys
because
did all the
we,
work. I just showed up and stayed there for like 9 hours.
because Andrew Katakis reached out to us the day after the fires
Yeah.
and wanted to do something with us. And we were already doing a bunch of live streaming by then, but so, we'll think about it, because at first we were nervous that like this is way beyond what we're typically
Well, we had
used to
actually
doing.
agreed to not do anything because we were like, this is bigger than us.
Yeah.
Let's leave it to the professionals, And so then Andrew called us, and it was like, okay, I guess we're gonna do something. Let's figure out what we're gonna do.
Seeing what you guys were able to do was so reassuring that we were on the right path. And so again, we had a 6.5 hour long live stream concert. With that, plus the auction with the ukulele site, we were able to raise over $175,000 from Maui.
Wow, that's awesome.
135,000 went to a little over 135,000 went to Maui Food Bank, and then 40,000 went to the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement's Kako'o Fund, Maui Fund.
And this was strictly ukulele. Ukulele concert.
Ukulele only.
We had over 70 performers that were live and featured over around the world, and it was the ukulele community that brought that together. So it was just amazing. So again, your web that you guys have touched from all the work that you've done, even from 2015 and beyond, it is amazing to share with you guys for the first time in person like this, that it really does reach so many more people than you think, than you realize. So
and
we
inspires.
can't thank you guys enough for that. Everything that you're doing even now, I mean, again, even having the podcast to feature people is incredible. I mean, it really, really is. And we take it for granted. It's hard because you're talking to a camera, right? And you don't get that kind of feedback. But again, everything.
Well, and I just want to also add, as an ukulele player who is from the mainland, right? Being on Hisessions for me was like, oh my gosh, I've made it. Like that, it was one of those feelings, right? It's like,
did you watch before all the
previous?
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I mean, it was inspiring to see all of these amazing artists, and the footage and the quality. You could actually really see what they were doing, and it sounded and looked amazing. And then to be able to go with Craig, it was just like, really, wow! Like it was just, especially being from the mainland, like it was a real big deal to me.
So let's start there, because so Craig is a local boy.
Yes.
Who moved to the mainland and then met you up there.
Yep.
So let's get some history of how
Thank
that
you,
all came to be.
Good man.
So I graduated in '99.
Yes.
From Punahou. Played cello most of my life. That was my instrument that I was supposed to be really good at. And I got into the University of Oregon. I was like, oh man, I am not going to be the cool kid with a cello at the parties. So I got to find something smaller, more social. And I was like, oh, I should pick up the ukulele. And we had All Critter Boys, Pure Heart, that were just inspiring so many of the younger generations as this cool instrument all of a sudden, right?
Oh, by the way, sorry, aside, how's your ducks, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, that being able to see not to say it wasn't exciting at little stadium, but
no.
oh my god, at Autzen for the first time, just surrounded by
Right.
that energy was
Yeah.
that was a life changing moment for sure. Just to be part of.
Just to say, I went
so
to school
cool.
there. Sorry, I didn't mean to aside that. She's kicking everybody's ass, and I'm like, okay, we got to give him the moment to do that. So,
Oh,
No,
Ducks
it's
are
been-
doing well?
oh yeah,
Okay.
they're doing very well.
Yeah.
So and I was lucky enough that I was jumped into the Hawaii Club band there and learned a lot. And Eugene, Oregon, had this huge ukulele community.
They do.
And I actually
Yeah.
met John on tour there with
That's right.
Steven, I think, for the first time, and then
That
with
John?
Herb
Yeah.
a second
This
time.
John?
That
Oh.
John.
And even back then, we were geeking about Canon cameras and like. It was amazing.
It is no joke how badly these two geek out on stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, holy
100%.
Wow.
Yes.
And again, it was just meant to be. Being in a location like that, so far away from home, but feeling more connected to the ukulele ever in my life. It was
Yeah.
there was one of the things that you'll notice on the mainland and even international, the ukulele groups and clubs. There's so much energy. There's so much more of a community. Here, I feel like there's pockets of incredible music, but unless you're kind of connected or related, it's you don't just show up and start playing with people. But on the mainland, it's just come, just who cares if you're making mistakes? Just come enjoy this. And it feels like a cult.
It does. Oh no. So sorry to jump in on your story. So I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. Never heard ukulele. Never heard Hawaiian music. Right. And so I think the closest thing I ever heard was like R. Crumb and his Cheap Suit Serenaders. Nowhere close. But they played ukulele and banjo ukulele. But moved to California, and I moved there sight unseen, and it was San Diego, California. And honestly, moving from, at the time I was going to college in North Carolina, and moving to San Diego, it was so brown. There was no seasons, and I got really depressed. I knew no one, and it was just, and what I was doing for a living at that time was making costumes. And so costume shops are pretty small. And I was working at the University of California, San Diego, and the La Jolla Playhouse. And so I was there, making costumes, which was fun, but I think there's like 4 of us in the costume shop. And I used to have a pretty wide social network. And so, I was having a really tough time. And then living there, I think 2 years, all of a sudden, my friend Lissa was like, hey, I was returning a movie at Blockbuster, kind of tells you how long ago that was, and I walked by this pizza place, and it was filled with all these ukulele players, and there was hula, and I was like, what? We have to go. And every week, this ukulele group would get together. It was 40 or more players.
Wow.
And yeah, it was, and they would have hula class like the hour before. And so then whatever songs they had practiced, the band would play. And I guess I had like a look on my face or something. I grew up playing violin, but I quit playing music so I could pursue theater as my career. And so I quit playing.
Which is great, by the way,
Thank you.
as theater people.
Ah, yes.
So
So 6 years, no music in my life, pretty much. And so then to go into this place where it was just like beautiful music that I had never heard before, and the environment was so inviting, and people, I must have had a look on my face because everybody was trying to put an instrument in my hands. Try, you should try. And sure enough, like the next week at the community college down the road, they had group ukulele lessons led by the gentleman who was running that group. And so I was like, oh, I'll try, why not? And then ever since then, 2006, I've played, and I never would have thought that I would have gotten back into music when I did. And because I quit playing music because I was like, oh, there's no way I can make a living doing that. No, well, at least not with violin. Classical violin's pretty cutthroat. But,
that
I never.
just sounds so weird.
Yeah.
Classical violin's really cutthroat. I'm like,
Oh yeah, not a lot of
Oh,
not a lot of orchestra seats available.
Well, exactly. I didn't realize that until we were talking with my friend Milo, who's a bassist, and he's like,
Oh, yeah.
competition for those seats in those orchestras.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
I thought you meant like there's little gangs of like running around. You know what I mean? Like the viola guys getting together with the violin
Yeah.
people. You gotta watch out.
Gotta watch out for those
Yeah.
bows.
But at that point, I got
Yeah.
into like the ukulele circuit. There's this festival circuit, especially big in the Northwest.
Yeah.
And I realized that people want to learn, and that was a big part of these festivals. It wasn't just
Yeah.
watching, right? It was actually people bringing their ukulele to learn at workshops and all that. So I started taking notes after every event that I've been to. This group, this is where they're at level wise, and these are the things that people are interested in learning.
Mm-hmm.
So I started really focusing on the instructional side, and then long story short, Sarah and I started getting hired to a lot of
these
events,
same events.
together, and that included Australia and the UK. And
Mm-hmm.
we're like, oh, let's maybe collaborate a little bit since we're going to be at these events throughout the year. And we worked together for a year, and it was great. We were laughing like, oh, this is so great that we're not like
I'm not
into
into
each
you,
other
it's
because
so- yeah.
we have a great working relationship. And look at those
Yeah.
idiots over there. They're dating. They're all messed. They're gonna be all messed up. And then lo and behold, she just wouldn't leave me alone.
Oh, there we go. Yep. Saw that coming.
Everyone out there believes that. Yeah.
But it was amazing, and I think part of it was a theater background because we loved doing the work. We loved thinking ahead and planning and realizing like every event that we went to, I'm always curious. I want to learn how that event was funded. How does it survive? How does it sustain itself? So that led us to creating our own events. We did like 6 ukulele cruises. We've done retreats in Berlin and
The UK.
and on the mainland. And
This year, this year next year is going to be our 3rd annual.
For Hawaii, yeah.
For Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah, we heard from Brian about those crazy retreats that go on.
Dude. Yeah.
He's been to a bunch of our stuff.
Basically, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting because, so for myself coming from
Sorry,
that.
Kai, you're like off.
I'm off.
No, you were.
And
I
he turned off your microphone.
don't know why I did that.
Uh-oh.
So say that again, Con.
Oh no.
No.
So dumb.
But,
So dumb.
but coming from a theater background, so I had to, because my degree's in costume technology, basically pattern maker, right? So I have to think, I have a very detail-oriented and I like having a system of this is how things go together, right? So I know exactly every single step it takes to create any kind of garment, right? And I kind of take that with my teaching with ukulele, where I can think of every single step you need in order to get to a certain place in your playing, right? And so I took that with my teaching so that I can break things down and remember what it's like to not know anything. Because that I think is really key in teaching is it's really easy to know all this stuff and be able to talk, about, the diatonic blah, blah, blah. Like, you can do all of that, right? But trying to remember what it was like to be a beginner, remember the first time that you were learning that information and being able to convey that to somebody to allow them to understand it. And so I feel like because of the background I have, that's what's really helped my teaching a lot in being able to take a step back.
Okay, so Sarah,
Here you
being
go.
from the mainland
Oh,
and
yeah.
learning ukulele,
Yes.
what was the first song you'd learned and played?
The very, very first one was You Are My Sunshine. Super easy song.
Okay,
After that, Tiny Bubbles.
okay.
Yeah.
So you knew the ukulele could be used as something other than just a Hawaiian instrument playing Hawaiian
Yes.
music.
Yeah,
then, right?
so the person who taught me, his name was Frank Leong, and he's actually from Hawaii. And he taught a lot of Hawaiian songs, but his passion was actually jazz. And that's also happened to be something that I had always wanted to play, but thought I didn't have the capabilities to play. And so my lessons with him, because eventually I convinced him to do private lessons. He refused for a long time. And finally, I got him to give me private lessons. And the lessons were him saying, okay, play this. And he'd play. Okay, now you play. Okay, and then I'd play. No, that's not it. Do it again. It's like this. okay, now you do it. And it was like 2 hours of that. Nothing was written down, and he
He's
never
from
gave,
Hawaii.
right?
Yeah, he's definitely from Hawaii.
Yeah.
So Herb teaches too, huh?
Yeah, but nothing written down,
Yeah.
and no time to let me write anything
Yeah.
down. And at the time, I didn't even have a recording device, so it was just like, okay, let's just do
Put
it.
it in
And
your
it was
head.
all standards. Like Lulu's Back in Town was one of the first standards I learned. So, and B flat of all keys, and it's like. So that was how I was taught, and he didn't know any of the theory or anything. So eventually I had to go on my own to kind of figure that stuff out. But yeah, it was, even though I didn't grow up here, I feel like I was taught in a way that a lot of people here are taught.
Pretty much.
And
yeah.
it was definitely like, as Brian would say, ready, fire, aim. And
Yeah.
I think that actually is really important. Even though Craig and I do teach where you can have materials from us and stuff, it's funny because our online school, we have a mix because it's a mainland company that runs it, ArtistWorks. But we have some lessons where we're like, no, you don't get the tab for this. You need to watch and see, because we're focusing on patterns. It's like, notice we're doing this, notice we're doing this. It's going to help you memorize it, and it's going to train your ear so that you're not looking at a piece of paper.
Just memorize it.
There is a universal way of learning the ukulele to play a certain way, or does Hawaii have a different way of playing that instrument as opposed to somewhere else in the world?
Yes.
The
Yeah.
short answer
No, I
is
mean,
yes.
because there's so many legends here that play differently, right? So they have their own
Right.
style, they have their own way of teaching as well. So, I mean, yes and no. There is something to be said about, like, for me, the Golden Age Hawaiian has that jazz influence,
Yeah.
And you can, compared to some of the more contemporary stuff nowadays, it's very different.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to think of the different styles and influences without thinking of that kind of generation as well. So, we'll probably get to it later, but one of the goals for our future projects with our nonprofit is to create a ukulele cultural exchange program.
Yeah.
Because as you know, especially in today, the ukulele has become so popular that you have kids now growing up in Japan who are starting to play ukulele, but there's no connection to the Hawaii side. It's just an instrument, which in some ways is great. In some ways, it's missing a lot of that. So,
Yeah.
as we got a chance to explore the UK and other countries, like the UK, their influences are Formby and Smek, a lot of that kind of style. Completely different way of playing it and approaching
who's
the
Formby
instrument.
and-
George Formby. So he's popular. He was very popular in like the 30s and 40s. And he was like a rock star.
Yeah.
And he performed for the Queen, but he wrote a lot of like kind of dirty songs. It's the tongue-in-cheek kind of songs. One of his most famous ones is When I'm Cleaning Windows. And it's all the things that he sees when he's cleaning windows. And but he played a lot, he played soprano ukulele mostly, but he also played banjo ukulele.
Wow.
And he had a very specific strumming style and totally not related to Hawaii at all. And so it's fascinating when you go to places like that where like that was their rock star and totally not, it's their own island's interpretation of the instrument.
It's disconnected from Hawaii
Right.
roots.
So we want to take someone like that, never left the island, that's a rock star in the ukulele, put them in a situation like that and share and expose them. Again, a lot of people don't realize how big the ukulele really is around the world. We take it for granted. It's something that we grew up with. It's something that we had in the closet. And it is such an important piece right now around the world, especially during the pandemic. And that's one of our goals, is to showcase that. And that's what we've been trying to do with some of our other projects. But the cultural exchange program is definitely something that we're...
I know for myself, especially not being from here, one thing that is very important to me is now living here is ensuring that I think it's important for people who play the ukulele, even if they're not going to play Hawaiian music, they should still know the roots of the instrument, the history of the instrument, and this place. Because without those things, they wouldn't have that instrument.
You guys must know Sean, right? Yakavone?
Oh yeah,
We
we
just
saw
had
him
a-
yesterday.
Oh, okay. He's like Mr. History
So
ukulele.
we
Yeah.
just had a meeting with him, and Adam from the Hawaii State Archives, because they have some huge projects coming up. And they asked us for some help on spreading the word and putting together ways to document.
They've got
that.
some cool stuff coming up.
Yeah,
I don't think we can really talk about it yet.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't have to.
But
They got cool stuff happening. Okay, moving on. Anyway, we're
let's just say that the Hawaii State Archives is embarking on a huge project, trying to obtain ukuleles from all time periods, and trying to getting them to a point where anyone can come in and see them.
Well, Sean is the right guy to talk to there.
Yeah.
Right. And so he's helping with the acquisition of all
I can just
these
imagine
instruments.
Sean. I don't know how he got involved with this entity,
Yeah.
but it's like if I was like, oh, I really like collecting baseball cards, and there was an entity that's like, hey, you know what? Let's go buy baseball cards from like every decade of the. I'd be like,
Not only that, the cost involved in one of those ooks. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
we got to hold one of the first
God.
ooks.
that was spooky.
That was scary. He was
I
like,
mean-
sitting here on his table, and we're like,
Yeah.
isn't it allowed?
You gotta
Is it
wear
allowed
gloves
outdoors?
and-
Yeah, I know. Like,
should be in a glass
he's like,
case,
no,
you
no,
know?
no, no.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think the overarching thing that Sean was talking about was that the instrument itself is meant to be played. All
Yes.
instruments
Yeah.
are meant to be played.
Yes.
So the sooner you get them in somebody's hand and they make music with it or sound with it, the better the thing sounds, which is great. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. My question was, when did you folks decide you wanted to come home? And I'm saying you come home because it's pretty much like you've been from here now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like-
I actually call it coming home. Even though
Yeah.
I didn't grow up here, I
Yeah.
still say, oh yeah, we moved home.
Yeah.
Because our roots, especially, I mean, like 99% of your family lives here. In Honolulu specifically. So and because of the friendships that we forged over the years with the different musicians here that we already knew before moving home, it feels like home. And I'm very, very grateful because I know not everybody who comes from another place to here gets to really have that feeling. But I'm very, very grateful. Yeah. But because of that, I'm also extra conscious of making sure that when we do leave and we do go out, that I represent this place well, because it's very important to me. That's also why I work very hard on like pronunciation and, making sure like when I sit with Brian or Halehaku, it's like I try to sit in and play music with them. I want to learn. I want to make sure that I do things pono. That's very important to me,
But
especially.
that's why you get that kind of entree to that stuff. So
Yeah.
that's great. That's awesome.
Very
That's
grateful.
all people ask for. But yeah, what was the impetus to make you come home?
So I mean, 2020.
Yeah, it was-
January 6, 2020, our son was born.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
And
Yes.
yeah,
And then March, everything shut down.
Yeah.
but so the crazy thing is, in 2018, we were traveling like 7-8 months out of the year, and that's how much travel we were doing.
was a lot.
It was insane. Like we hit like diamond on Delta for like 3
3
years
years
straight.
straight.
Wow.
Which was crazy. Yeah, I mean, it was insane.
We got some great
She's
perks.
excited. He's going, oh my God.
A lot of traveling.
I don't think we'll ever do it again.
Well,
But
they used to like pick us up in a
In the
Porsche,
Porsche?
Off the plane and
What?
drive us to the other tarmac for the next plane in LA, like to
Yeah.
connect to flight.
Wow.
It was crazy.
I tell everybody.
People thought you guys were rock stars.
Wow. Look how small the guitars are.
I know. I'm just like, we just play ukulele. Like it's
But so so we said to ourselves, if we're gonna try to start a family,
yeah.
we're gonna pretend like everything goes to plan, and in 2020, if he's born during that time, we're gonna not book any gigs for that year.
So we had no gigs booked in 2020 because we found out I was pregnant in February of 2019, I think.
Wow.
Something like that.
Unfortunately, perfect timing though in 2020 to not
Honestly,
book anything,
yeah.
right?
So we had nothing booked. We were going to be home.
That was when we started doing the live streams, and we did like these little mini
2018
fests.
was in the live streams.
But the mini fests were in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
And that was when one
The
of
mind
our,
melt between the two of you is really weird, by the way. I just want you to know. There's the 3 married guys. Like, I don't do any of that stuff with my wife.
No.
So this is weird. For us, I'm like, bruh, they're just sort of like answering each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
One, like the correction is so nice. It's very gentle.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
well,
The
no,
other
actually, I
day,
think
like-
it's this. Like, we don't get any of that.
Devin's
in our
just
house.
used to eye rolls. That's all he's used to.
Yeah, we get eye rolls and we get,
Imagine. Craig and I have been together 24/7 since 2013. 2014.
Wow.
Because we
24/7
right?
because we
It's
work
very
together,
different.
we travel, right? So then 2020 happens when you're locked at home. All these friends of ours are like breaking up or getting
Yeah.
divorces. I'm like, that's just the day in our life. Like, except now we have a baby.
Yeah.
Like,
See, but during that time, like,
Yeah.
I think it was Lil Rev. He made a Facebook post saying, like,
yeah.
I just saw my entire calendar
disappear.
from
Yeah.
that.
Right?
And so we were drinking coffee, like, oh, we gotta do something. So that was when we did our first big live stream. Like, I think that one was like 9 hours.
No, that one was only 7.5 or 8. The next one we did was longer, which was insane.
But we had like 30,000 people watching with us.
'Cause everyone was
and
stuck at
there was-
home.
Everyone was at home. But that was the first time we were able to bring in people
We used Skype.
and
Oh, wow.
infuse that in. I mean, it was awesome. So
Wait.
we had like guest speakers
We
and
weren't even
workshops
using
and
Ecamm. What were we using? That
OBS.
OBS.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, so I mean, but we were able to start raising money for our friends that lost everything.
Yeah.
So I think during the 3 sessions that we had, over $50,000 went to artists. So already we're starting that early, and so that came again. It just everything has been rolling forward from that. But in the middle of the year, we realized, you know what? Does it make sense to stay up here? I eventually wanted to go to Hawaii, back to Hawaii.
You guys are already in
So
San
yeah, we were in
Diego.
San Diego.
San Diego, okay.
So to add to that, actually, Craig blames it on me because I said to him, "Why are we even here? The whole reason that we live on the mainland is because it's easier to tour and it's cheaper for people to get us." I saw the writing on the wall. I was like, this is not going to be over in 2 weeks or a month. Like, this is a long haul problem. So, we have this newborn. Like, we can't have any help because we're still like wiping our groceries because nobody knows what's going on. And you don't trust anything.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we here? Why don't we were gonna move? I think when he was around 3, this age. We're like, let's just go. And little did I know, me saying that would lead to us moving. 5 months later? Craig was like, "Okay, you want to move? We're moving now." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Can we wait till next year?" It's kind of scary. So we moved September 15th, 2020. That was our nonstop flight, or our non-round trip flight, one-way ticket. And we packed all of our stuff on a container and we did the move. It was scary.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. We were all masked up with our little, how old was he? Like 8 months old or something?
And at this point, you guys are living in Oregon or
San Diego, California.
Okay.
I
okay.
convinced him to move down.
Yeah, I lost the battle between Eugene and San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I convinced him to move down in 2014.
Okay.
Was when I got him to move from Eugene, and then
So you guys are working together, but you were in separate areas.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
And then you'd get together to do these tours.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you went, "Hey, I think we're in love."
Yeah.
And then it was, okay, who's moving to who?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Craig
you
lost.
were- yeah, and you were a smart man.
I was
Yes.
in the middle of
Yeah.
an ice
Yeah.
storm in Oregon at the
Yeah, he
time.
was like, "Yeah, I'm moving."
Good timing.
You win.
It was.
But don't you guys think that the pandemic, the lockdowns, and all this viral concerts that you could watch online every day exposed everybody to more music? Yes. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, every day I would turn on.
Oh, okay. Let's pick that up.
Yeah, think about it. Let's put her up on.
Yo, I'm on speaker.
Yeah.
Hi, Herbie.
Okay. Herb, hold on. I'm gonna put you on speaker. Oh,
Hey, Herb.
you guys.
Hey,
Herb.
Herb, you're on Hisessions
Wow.
podcast.
On the
it's
podcast.
1:40 on a Tuesday. What you think we're doing?
Yeah, that's Devin. But I'm here and Kyle's here as well.
What's up, Herb?
What did you need, brother?
Hey, Herb.
Well, I don't know. I didn't expect if you guys doing a podcast, I don't know why Craig answered the phone.
Oh, because we saw it was you. We always answer when it's you. We love you, Herb.
Aw.
Well, Devin, you know I love you because you was giving us a microphone when Jake didn't allow us to have one.
I heard about that.
Yes.
That was awesome, brother. That was awesome. And you still didn't even use the damn thing.
Well, that's part of the comedy, right? Because Brian is the talker.
This is true. This is true. It was very, very funny.
All right, Herb, I'm going to tell a story about you, so I'll call you back after.
All right.
Okay.
Shoot.
Take care,
Okay,
Herb.
brother.
Bye.
Bye.
Herb.
So,
Aw,
Herb
Herb.
Olta Jr., really quick.
Oh yeah.
Early in my career, Australia, he was there. First time meeting him. And of course, I feel like he hates me, right? Because just that's how we.
Well, that's,
Me too. First time I met Herb, I was like, oh man, he doesn't like me. And Craig is like, no, that's Herb.
And then halfway through the week, he comes up to me and says, "Oh, Craig, you like him? Where? I'm go play at the hospital. Oh, okay, yeah, let's do it." And so I learned on the way to the hospital from the organizer that one of the things that she had to promise Herb for coming is to put make some time for him to go play for people at the hospital.
Awesome.
And he said, "You can't have any
No
coverage.
publicizing.
You can't we were gonna go." And so I went with him, not knowing what was going on, and just seeing him there and playing music and inspiring one of the little girls that came with us to start playing, and he kind of just let her, and it was incredible to see that. It's almost like passing the baton, and she was then performing for one of the first times that she's been performing, and everyone just had the biggest smiles, and you can feel everything change in that room, right?
Yeah.
It was that moment where I realized, and this is something that we see over and over with people like Jake and these other amazing artists. We realize that we can do so much more than just perform. We can do so many things with this tiny instrument, and so that luckily was so early in my career that always stuck with me. From
It shaped how you looked ahead, right? Like you weren't always thinking me. Like how can I get ahead? It was what can we do? What can we do to help others? And that's always with Craig. Even so, when we lived on the mainland, one of the big things that we had discussed before even having our son was starting a nonprofit. Craig was wanting us to be able to bring, because there's so much talent here, so much talent that never gets a chance to leave the island, either because maybe they don't want to, or they don't know how, or they don't realize the possibilities, right? And so he wanted us to.
or it's cold.
Oh yeah, there's that. Also,
John's always cold, so he
Yeah.
stays home.
but we wanted to be able to give opportunities and be able to, create tours. And then Craig, because of his multimedia background and just being a photographer, be able to take folks on tour, and then they would have amazing photos and amazing footage afterward, that they would have a great EPK when everything was all said and done. And then they would be able to see what it's like to do, because we would hold their hands during bookings and things like that. That way they learn how to do it themselves. And so we had kind of this big idea to do something like that. Obviously, we didn't end up doing that. What we ended up doing instead was, because to us that was like a long-term goal. We ended up loaning out our car. We had 2 cars in San Diego. I don't know why, because we worked from home and we didn't even really need either of them. But anybody who came to tour Taimane, Kalegamiao, they've borrowed our car and they would take it up the coast of California and do touring. We'd help if people needed contacts. We'll give you our contacts. We don't hoard things. We had help.
Well,
and
again,
so
in order to make tours work for us, people hosted us. They
Yeah.
fed us. They drove us
Those
around.
are some of the
and-
funnest times, yeah?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
well,
yeah.
let's say 99% of the time, yes.
It's okay, because John was telling a story about coming back, touring in Korea and driving like 8 hours in a car. And
Yeah.
he was like,
No. What I'm saying is
Best
like
8 hours of my life.
well, he was with Herb, so,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
awesome.
some of the funnest times I've had is not staying at the hotel. We stay at people's houses,
Yes.
and it's like we're like up till 3 a.m. watching
Couch
Braveheart.
Yeah.
Just
In
talking
Chinese
stories.
or something.
Yeah.
We were freezing in Scotland,
Oh.
and they made this amazing curry.
Oh God,
I mean,
that
again,
family
it's just,
is the best.
It's
They made
those
me-
moments make it
Yeah.
so real, and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
again, like being able, again, you're not just performing. Especially with the teaching side, you're really being part of their community. You're really
and touching people's lives. Because the thing that, the moment that happened to me at that ukulele club, right, where all of a sudden, people, the like, play this, you'll get happy, and they were totally right, because the ukulele.
You cannot play. You can't be sad playing ukulele.
And they were totally right. The depression stuff that I was in, it took a while, but I got out of it, and the ukulele was a huge part of that. And I'm not the only person that has that kind of story worldwide. And going through, and we make a point, like, I do my absolute best to, like, I learn people's names. I try to talk to them about their stories because I want to know. And it meant so much to me when people would remember who I was and take the time to connect. And so for us, when we would travel, when we would tour, and even still now, it's important to me to do that.
Well, even with our events here, we've had people join us for Hawaii retreats as a bucket list thing, or join us for the U Cruise as their bucket list. They bring the whole family, and we get to share those moments with them. And again, it's more than just ukulele.
Right.
It really is so incredible. So again, part of our mission, I feel like, since moving back home, is again to re-inspire people in Hawaii as well. So like, again, to realize how amazing this instrument really is.
How do you guys connect with people and organize in different countries? Like, do you guys go, let's go to Germany, now we gotta find somebody? Or is there clubs that you guys keep in contact with?
We were already connected there in the first place.
So luckily, working with people who brought us over for their festivals, then we would continue that conversation. And like Mary Agnes, who's amazing in the UK, we did so at her festival. She ended up booking us like this crazy
19 cities in 26 days.
Yes. Yeah, it was amazing.
It was basically, you wake up, you get on a train,
sounds
go
like
to
a
a new
nightmare to
city, do a workshop and a show. Wake up, get on a train, go to another city.
That sounds tiring.
It was
Yes,
exhausting.
It was awesome.
Was
And
this
so
before
awesome.
baby?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I was like,
yeah.
wait a second.
Ain't doing that with the
And,
baby.
then, like Berlin, for example, we did their festival, and
Yeah, that was the Berlin.
she said, Sabina was like, we would love more instructional. Would you be interested in doing something like a retreat? And that was
And so
the
she
start of
helped
that.
us with hosting that. So
Yeah.
she got everything secured, and then we did all of the content for it. And then say in the UK, our friend Matt Stead there, he was like, I have this space. Maybe we can host a retreat. And so again, he was able to have the venue and have the space, and then we were the only teachers, and we created the content for it for the 4 days.
Are these festivals still going on?
Some of them.
Because a lot of them, they got
during the
COVID,
pandemic,
right?
Some
A
of
lot
them
went down.
still haven't opened back up yet, or they're just waiting, or I mean, a couple of them were
Waiting
like,
for you to. And your 3-year-old who probably can play ukulele better than me already.
But that is the kind of sad thing still yet, that we're not over COVID yet. I mean, there's still
No.
things that are being affected,
Yeah.
things that are still, so we're hoping.
John catches all of them too.
Lucky you. Right?
But that is the joy of internet, though, because now we can. There are some people who, for health reasons or financial reasons, cannot travel, and so we that's why we host a free workshop every month online. But we also have these kind of virtual retreats that are paid for, that we had like Jake and Herb.
Jake and Herb,
like
we
a
did two with them.
2-day event kind of thing.
Wow.
You show up on Zoom and we're all eating together, having snacks,
Yeah.
and teaching. And
If it wasn't for the pandemic, Zoom would have not happened.
I know.
No. Skype really lost out, man, because like they actually were they're better quality than Zoom,
Yeah.
but Zoom took off, and like people were like, "What's Skype?"
Yeah.
But
Sometimes when I'm in my living room, I walk past that microphone that I use for the Zoom podcast.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they
yeah.
did, and I'm like, I don't ever want to do that again.
But the cool thing though is, like, for example, we never would have been able to do a retreat with Jake.
Yeah.
Right? And we
Yeah.
did 2 or 3 where it's like, I think it was, the first one was 3 full days of teaching with both him and Herb. And I think we capped it at 40 people,
Yeah.
I think. And it was just, all of us, and you had us all day. And at the end of it, people said they really felt like they got to know us. Like, we actually
Well, that also
connected.
inspired him to
Yes.
do the Nashville retreat that
Yeah.
we all went to with him.
Oh.
I mean, that was
Right.
super fun. Yeah, like,
because he realized he didn't know that there was this thing out there with being able to teach, because all he does, or at the time all he had been doing was mostly performing and stuff. He didn't realize, like, there's this whole other area where you can connect with folks with teaching.
Yeah.
And he had such a fun time, even though it was just over Zoom, that he's like, oh yeah, why don't we actually like try them? And so Nashville was really fun with him. He did an amazing job setting the tone for the whole event, where he was just like, he started it off by just reminding people, be in the moment. Don't get too obsessed about, understanding it right away. He's like, be in the moment. This moment only once.
When you're in Nashville, do you tailor? I mean, just for example, if you're in Nashville, do you tailor the type of music that you're teaching to the place that you're?
So what they
teaching
did,
to?
and what we try to do for our events too, is that we send out a survey.
Yeah.
So what are the things you're most interested in learning about? And we read all these responses, and we try to tailor
Yeah.
our workshops depending on what they want to learn.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to learn ukulele in Nashville country music style, you guys would just kind of
I'll
adapt
say
to
go
that.
to that guy. I don't mind saying like that's not my strong suit, but here are what I would love to do to get you to that point,
Okay.
Well, and honestly, whenever we send out a survey, it's more of a like, okay, out of these subjects, chord melody, right hand technique, warm-up exercises, scale work, etc. Here are the different things that we think most people would be interested in. What are your top 3? And for our ukulele retreat, the top 3 things actually are, number 1 is chord melody and soloing, and then right hand technique.
Okay,
so picking
chord melody. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Not a drummer, so I don't know what that
So that's
means.
playing-
What is chord melody?
Playing chords and melody at the same time.
Yeah, if we
basically.
do get a chance to play a song,
So instead of
Oh
singing-
no, you're gonna get a chance to play. Don't worry.
Instead of-
You can do one right now if you want. I mean, it's fine.
So instead of playing, for example, instead of it's in tune enough. Instead of just doing that,
Okay.
right? So then you can go through and,
It's fine. Don't worry.
but you can do the chords and the melody at the same time, like Herb,
Got it.
right? Or
Like
Jake.
Herb.
So I have a question. When you guys teach your first song to a
The
beginner,
last question.
this is the last question.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I had a question.
Oh
Okay, but after Devon will be the last question.
All right.
When you teach a song to
Yeah.
a beginner for the first time, what song usually is it?
no! It really depends. It really depends.
If you wanted to pick a song to teach them for the first time, what would it be?
Now, are we talking about just strummy playing a song or chord melody
First song.
First song.
Person walks in, they've never played the ukulele before.
My talk, guys, please.
You Are My Sunshine is always a good one. Because almost everyone, no matter where you live in the world, for some reason, knows that song. And so that's a really good one, I think, and it's only 3 chords. Or even just 12-bar blues is another, you can teach somebody that super easy, and all of a sudden that they know a bajillion songs. So,
That's true.
right? So,
Good
Okay,
choices.
I guess I'm learning 12 chord blues then.
oh,
blues,
yeah.
12 bar blues at some point in time. Okay.
Yeah.
My question was, when you guys were doing your workshops and then the concert thing, how does that work? Because the problem is, I've known Herb, and we've known Herb and Jake for super long time, right? And so the idea that, sorry, I've known them so long that the idea that these guys are masters of their instrument, right? We know intrinsically in my head, logically, I know that they are some of the best players in the world ever, right? People just sit there and go, "Oh my God,
Yes.
Herb Otta." Sorry, Herb. I know it's gonna make you really uncomfortable, but people say, "Holy shit, I'm learning ukulele from Herb Otta, or I'm learning ukulele from Jake Shimabukuro," right? Yeah. That kind of blows my mind. But when you guys have to do your concerts and stuff, how did you put that together? Do you sit there and go, because they teach classes and they do they do these workshops too. And so I sit there going, what do you mean you did a workshop? You sat there and Herb's thing, right? Here, I'm going to play this thing. Okay, I'm going to walk outside. You learn that thing and then play them back for me, right?
Yep.
But then the concert afterwards, do the two of you say, okay, we're going to teach you guys these songs, and then here's our concert where we do 45 minutes of...
So we like to not trick people, but we like to incorporate a lot of the things that we just taught and say, for this song, keep an eye on this. You're going to hear exactly what we just taught,
Yeah.
and it may be in a different way,
Yeah.
or a little bit more speed.
Yeah.
But we like
Right.
to infuse that because, again, nothing is better than seeing what you're learning in real time.
So, for example, one thing I love to do is I teach an intro to jazz class where we talk about the 2-5-1 progression, 1-6-2-5, and variations of that. And then I say, okay, and I'm going to start, and I say, okay, we're going to play a song. I'm going to start my song. My intro to my song is a 1-6-2-5 followed by a 3-6-2-5. And I say, but, I taught it to you down here. But you're going to see me utilize that and then move it here. And it's exactly what I taught, so that I will go through and play it. And it's always really neat because you hear the students kind of go, oh, because I think one of the joys of doing the workshops and then performing after is showing the students what they now know, and now they're in the know. And it makes music more enjoyable if you know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, you love that melody's really pretty, but if you can listen and hear that do 2 5 1 6 2 5, if you could hear that while the tune's going, or you're like, oh, I hear the blues progression. I hear when it starts over again. I recognized when 12 bars went by. It's a really cool, magical thing. Then you also realize, oh, I can keep track of the solos. I know when that's going to happen. And it's a cool thing. It's a great tool to be able to give students that gives them a deeper appreciation of music. And so that's part of why we like doing that mix and why it's rare you'll see us only do a concert, because for us, the educational part, yes, we like to perform, but the educational part is way more magical and fun for us, right? And so that's always been our
that
focus.
was a good last question.
It was a very good last question, Devon.
There you
Yeah.
go. Sorry, it took me so long to get to it.
No worries. We had a lot to cover. So, okay.
Yes.
So before we go, before we do that,
Yes,
we're
sir.
going to ask our every
yeah.
podcast question. And so while you're tuning up, maybe one can tune up and one can answer. If you were guys who were stranded on a desert island for the rest of eternity,
Together?
Always, right? I mean, it's kind of.
I guess so. I guess
That's
the-
fine, that's fine.
I
Just
guess
wanna make
that's the
sure.
theme.
How about, okay, you're stranded, but you're stranded on separate parts of the island. Like, you're stranded on that side, on the east
Two
side.
different huts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for now. We'll
Okay,
put
okay.
your son in the middle hut.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And you could only bring 3 albums with you to listen to for the rest of eternity.
Oh.
What would those 3 albums be? So, whoever wants to go first. Dev, can you grab that tuner that's on the electrical plug there over there?
God, I'm trying to think. That's a very difficult question, sir.
Well,
Because there's so many.
we
There-
didn't bring you here to make it easy.
To be honest, one of I love Christmas music,
Oh, God, yes.
so
Wow, interesting.
Yes, he does.
it would probably be one of them would be Pure Heart 2.5.
Which, by the way, thank you for that perfect segue, Craig, because everybody who's watching, Pure Heart 2.5, the Christmas album, is now available on Spotify and Apple Music.
All right.
I'm going to make the announcement
It's a
tomorrow
great
on my... yeah.
And what about Pure Heart 3?
I don't know. I'm still waiting for Jake on that one, yeah.
Waiting for the Pure Heart EP.
It's funny because we had the best of up there on Spotify for a while, and then I think maybe about a month and a half ago, I was like,
I might.
yeah, all these years we had the Christmas album. We should just throw it up on Spotify or something. so
Yeah.
people can-
How were you able to do that?
I just called the guy, emailed the guys, like, is it okay if I put it up on Spotify? And they're like, yeah.
Really?
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
And then so I did it, but I had the file.
Pure Heart 2.
Yeah.
Nice.
The files,
It's a great
the
album.
files are wrong or something. So
Oh, no.
I thought I had uploaded it all, and then I was gonna make an announcement last week, and then I was like, oh my god, it's not up there. Where is it? And then it's all errors and stuff.
Oh no.
Anyway.
So you
Okay, so
you
that's
messed
one
up.
album.
Okay, so that's one album.
One album
Thank
for
you,
you.
Craig. Thank you for
Oh,
that.
no, you
helpful.
get 3 album, I get 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're separate.
you each get 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you think of a second one?
Oh my God.
Oh, you want me to go?
Your pigeons
Probably,
get away with
honestly. So I think Cane Fire by the Peter Moon Band.
it. Yeah.
Because that's one part of it is one of our Cameron, our son's favorite song
I love
in
that
the
album.
world is Epilimai.
Oh.
And I had to learn it.
It's my mom's favorite song.
I had to I had no choice. I had to learn it because he wanted it sung to him at night,
That is a great album.
constantly. And the
That
whole
is good.
album's awesome. He also
Yeah.
likes Mauna Loa too, that one.
Yeah, Manolo is a good song.
And
You know what's funny about AP Limai? So
yeah.
so it's kind of like a little story, but I remember like we did Pure Heart had a version of that we did. We never recorded it or anything, but we'd play it at gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember like playing. Okay, we're gonna do a Pili Mai. We're at practice and stuff, and then I'm like, fuck, Peter Moon is like the best ukulele player ever, and I'm like, let's see what Jake does with this solo. He did a solo. I was like, damn, that was pretty good. So I was like, yeah, this guy's legit. Okay, all right.
That's when you realized Jake was legit.
Yeah, I was like, man.
Wow.
He passes.
Yeah, I
He
was like,
passes.
geez.
So yeah,
that's pretty good too.
Cane Fire, that would be one, because
What was it? Valley Style? No.
Valley Boys.
Valley Style.
Valley Style. No, the Conqueror Boys.
Yeah.
Because again, that was
Oh, I thought you were
one of the biggest albums that inspired so many of us to pick up the ukulele. I mean,
There's I'm trying to remember the name of this album. There's an album I have that I love. It's Count Basie and Ella Fitzgerald live at like the Côte d'Azur or something like that. But it's an LP I have. It's like I could be stuck on an island with that, and I'd be okay with that. And then a third one.
The third one's always the hardest.
I love Ben Folds.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I see the album, I see the cover. I like Ben Folds 5 also, but Ben Folds' work on his own I really love. And there's one particular album that has the song Jesus Land on it, and the cover is him with I don't know if it's water or alcohol, but it's him with a glass sitting at a piano. But that particular album, whatever it is, it's like I could listen to that one for eternity.
The
It's a good
first
album.
Ekolu album.
Oh.
For some reason, that was the only CD I had in the car when I drove from Eugene to LA.
Oh.
That's a long
But it was
time.
awesome. I mean, it's a good album. I mean,
Yeah.
the harmonies and everything is just so awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's that? A Kolu first album, not Valley Boys. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you
said there's a different
Valley
call.
Style. Was it Valley Style? Was it
Well, Valley Styles.
Yeah. So,
I
so-
mentioned
but-
Valley Boys because I thought you were referring to that album. Look in the morning I thought you were talking about that one.
That was a good album
That was a
too.
good album.
It is a good album.
We started trying to play around. with
We
some
made
songs,
Herb
yeah.
play that song.
Yes.
It was really fun. It was us.
Did Herb
Good-
sing it too?
Yeah.
You
he was-
know
he-
what?
No.
Actually,
He's been singing with us.
Really?
so we did.
Pulling
So
out on me.
our
That's
very.
part of the mission right there.
So our very, very first backyard concert that we ever did was a fundraiser when we had Herb do it with us. And Herb sat in on our set. And we did Can't Help Falling in Love. And he did 3-part harmony with us.
What?
It's so good.
Yeah, he can
Get it back on the phone.
I know, right?
Just when you start singing, bro. What's going on?
Sandbagger. I like that.
Oh.
But and it came out of nowhere. He had a mic. We always give him a mic.
Yeah.
You know, and just out of nowhere, he just started adding it in, right? Because he's one of those guys that can just listen and be like, "Oh, this is where I fit."
Yeah.
And it was like, "Oh, wow!" It was really neat. So, we'll have to-
Multi-talented.
Is that
dude,
album
yeah?
a perfect match? Ella Fitzgerald and Count Basie?
yes, that's the one. It's such a good
Adding
album.
it today.
It's so good.
Okay, so we will leave here with a song from you folks, but before then, let's talk about the instruments real quick. So what are
Yeah.
you playing, and what are they made out of, and all that stuff?
This is made out of wood. Now these are a custom
It's beautiful.
ukulele.
Thanks.
Our original customs
Yes.
were like the foundation of a lot of new stuff that they've been doing. Like it was the first time they ever had
A sound port.
and they made ours really fancy. This even in the original custom.
Yes, that hibiscus.
This whole thing is new, but they experimented.
Yeah, what
Bevel.
is that? I noticed it. I was like,
Yeah, it's like
You
look
play
how
that or-
deep that goes. It's
Well, it's just
super
it's
comfortable.
easy to hold.
Is it more? It is more comfortable.
It is, and you
Yeah.
don't get that like line in your arm.
And it's the first time they did this cutaway thing here. I mean, so they did a lot of cool things.
Well, our original customs were a wedding gift. They presented them to us at our wedding. It was really
Oh
cool.
my god, our whole wedding
Our
was
wedding
like
was-
presented by ukulele. It was like people.
Brought to you by the ukulele.
I mean, so we had like side order band. It was at Calais' house.
Yeah.
Benny and Byron showed up and played. Herb came to play a song.
He did. Craig and I were like, we should have sold tickets. It was really good. It was one of those things where I was like, I want to do this party again. It was our wedding was the most fun party I have ever been to. Such great music with side order band. Del Beasley was the MC.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
man. Forget that.
My dad
it was
was
a
like,
6-hour wedding?
My dad, of course, mainland person, right? Who's like, who is this guy? I love him. I'm like, yep.
That's down.
And it was the best day, and it lasted, like, the wedding was 15 minutes tops, but the party after was like from 10:30 until like 9 at night. It was just constant, and it was so beautiful up in Haleiwa. We were so lucky.
Awesome.
But that was the originals, and then these are newer customs.
Torrefied cedar top, rosewood back and sides. They realized they're not supposed to bend torrefied cedar, so so we have another newer custom that I didn't bring. But
What happened? Is
this sounds
it
better.
lifting or something?
Torrefied, it's more prone to
Cracking.
crack. So
So
because
that
of the crazy
bend.
Yeah.
so they're like, we'll make you another one just in case. So we have that one at home.
Yes.
And this is, oh my gosh, so spruce top, but the walnut on this body is from a family that lives in California that we've stayed at. And long before we even met them, they traded woods with Joe Souza. And we realized the connection. And so Joe was like, for this sound of this instrument, I have this amazing walnut that will sound good. And it happened to be
Our friends from their
walnut.
walnut
That's
grove.
awesome.
Crazy,
A lot
yeah.
of roots in that ukulele. Then,
And so,
And what it is tuned to a baritone.
all right, so this is high G, your typical My Dog Has Fleas. This one is tuned to
So it's a high D.
deeper fleas.
Bigger fleas on this one.
But baritone tuning, but made for a tenor scale, because when we trade instruments on stage, we don't want to have to like feel a different scale.
It takes me a song, like if I switch from like concert to tenor, sometimes it takes me a song to like readjust.
Now the sound hole on the top of that, which is you guys got a hibiscus, but that's for more you can hear yourself play, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So not everything just goes blah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's hear some of that then.
Yeah, because
You're not gonna play that kind. Rhythm for that.
I kind of want to see what they do. They're so good together.
Yeah.
Call her, but they can do
See if he can fit his playing.
because 2015 we ran out of time. We had our friends Kalei and Aldrin Guerrero come and join us, but we ran out of time to do any of the standards. So we want to do one standard for you guys. Just
Do you want to just split the solo?
up to you, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
Grab your coat, grab your hat, leave your worries on the doorstep, just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Can't you hear the pitter-pat? And a happy tune is your step, light as so sweet. On the sunny side of the street I used to walk in the shade with my blues on parade, but I'm not afraid. This road was crossed over if I never ever have a cent. I'd be rich as Rockefeller, gold dust at my feet on the sunny side of the street. Grab your coat and grab your hat, leave your worries on the doorstep, just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Can't you hear the pitter-pat? And and happy too is your step. Life is just again so sweet. On the sunny side of the street I used to walk in the shade with my blues on parade. But I'm not afraid, this rover has crossed over. If I never ever ever sent, I'd be rich as Rockefeller, gold dust at my feet on the sunny side. The sunny side, on the sunny side of the street.
Wow.
Something like that. Something like that.
So for those of you watching, if you want to find Sarah and Craig, where can they go? We'll put it in the link as well. So,
CraigandSarah.com.
Everything.
Super easy.
amazing, great,
Even
great.
if you do SarahandCraig.com, by the way,
Is that what-
redirects you right there.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming, guys. This is
Guys,
wonderful.
Thank you for all that you guys do. I really mean it. Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks for helping inspire us.
We appreciate it. Okay, so we'll see everybody next week.
Aloha.
Take care.